Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Harrington. Tonight on the Now Bakersfield, uniting the faith, two local churches becoming one. A look at why they decided to come together and why church officials say it will be better for the community. And tackling cancer, how local high school football teams are helping raise money for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. Plus, local CSUB students will be moving in this weekend. A look at the event being held to help freshmen and their families get ready for the school year. That's all ahead on the Now Bakersfield. Annie?
Top in today's lineup here on the Now, a new warning about travel insurance. It's supposed to protect us from losing money, but now one lawmaker is questioning if it's really helping. Ever heard of returnships? No, not something you do at a store. It's an internship for older professionals. Maybe something you want to consider. And story time turning into a real drag for kids across the country. Libraries are finding out, though, maybe it's a good thing. We'll show you how these queens are getting kids to read. A lot to get to on this Tuesday.
Well, you might have noticed over the past week or so, signs have changed at two of Bakersfield's churches, and that's because they're becoming one. Resurrection Church will be launching next month. The Now's Alyssa Flores tells us how the two very different faith centers have merged to become what they believe the community needs. Alyssa?
Two very different churches with very different backgrounds.
Now merging together to become one.
So we've dropped the banners and the histories.
Calvary Bible Church in North Bakersfield and Hinge Point Church downtown.
Felt like we were a match where we were weak, they were strong, and where we were seeing a lot of strength, they had seen a lot of weakness.
A pillar in the faith community, Calvary Bible Church is non-denominational and has been around since the 1950s with a long-standing focus on missionary work. Proceeds from their Junkatique thrift store in downtown Bakersfield all going directly to missions.
Huge heritage of generosity. They've given tons to missions. They're very missions-minded.
Hinge Point, a newer Baptist church based out of the historic Niles Theater, founded by Russ Chambers in 2010.
We're a young church where most of our church's new growth from people who weren't believers or followers of Christ.
An established congregation at Calvary and a younger congregation with momentum at Hinge Point. Chambers says though it wasn't recommended and it's something that's not typically done, the two are bringing their strengths together to become Resurrection Church.
I feel like together we could complement each other and be more effective at serving our city and loving Bakersfield.
The new church's mission, generosity, donating about $175,000 to missions since the merger was decided in January, and to reflect the diversity of Bakersfield, the different cultures, and the different generations.
Resurrection Church is going to be a church that is intentionally multicultural. You know, we live in a city that's integrated, but a lot of our churches, they're one race predominantly. Well, we know that in our city, around the walls of this church, there's a much more diverse breakdown, and we want to see that diversity reflected within the walls of our church.
The decision to merge was left up to the congregations, a nearly unanimous yes vote amongst 500 people back in January. But still, the change hasn't been for everyone.
We've lost people in the process. For others, we've seen a lot of growth where people who had left have come back and have been rejuvenated by this.
Resurrection will operate as one church at the two separate campuses, at the Niles Theater downtown and on Manor Street, where Chambers says everyone is welcome to see what the unique result of this merger is all about.
We're a church for the broken and the hurting. We're the church for the people that got kicked out of church. We're the church for the people in the margins, and that's where we want to stand.
Again, Sunday, September 9th will be the official launch of Resurrection Church at both the downtown and Manor Street campuses. For the Now Bakersfield, I'm Melissa Flores.
High school football season is in full swing, and this year some local schools are taking part in a special fundraiser that tackles cancer. Bakersfield High School, Bakersfield Christian, and East High are participating in Touchdowns Against Cancer. Touchdowns Against Cancer is a national program created in partnership between Max Preps, Pledge It, and St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. In support of Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, this national high school football program unifies communities across the country for a common cause, finding cures and saving children's lives. Varsity high school football teams and their communities participate in Touchdowns Against Cancer by pledging a donation for every touchdown their team scores this September. This weekend is the big move-in day for students attending Cal State Bakersfield. CSUB is hosting its annual New Students and Family Weekend starting at 8 a.m. this Saturday. Students and that are planning to live on campus can begin moving into their new home for the school year. But it's not just a move-in. New Students and Family Weekend is a campus-wide celebration that helps first-time freshmen and transfer students make a successful transition to the university. The weekend is also full of programs that connect students and their families to campus life, campus resources, and campus culture. The seminars are scheduled to begin right after the move-in at 11 a.m. If you're in the workforce without a college degree, some lucrative doors may have just opened up for you. Dozens of companies, including Google, Apple, and IBM, are ditching their degree requirements. The move is seen as an effort to improve diversity and make it easier for people who don't take the traditional college path to get hired. It's yet another sign that this tight employment market is a friendly place for job seekers.
We're spending more money than ever on protecting our vacation plans, but it might be a giant waste. And Kamasi Aaron is here with a new report raising the red flag on travel insurance.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised to see these figures myself. $3 billion a year, just in case we can't make that flight or that cruise. And what we're learning is that we probably aren't getting the protection that we deserve. A Massachusetts senator's office just reviewed travel insurance and found only 2 companies do all the underwriting for travel insurance policies for all the major airlines and online booking sites. The report also pointed out questionable marketing practices for policies that offer minimal coverage, and it might be difficult for you to get your money back if you do make a claim. It also found travel insurance plans not offered by the travel websites often come with better coverage and cost about the same. The U.S. Travel Insurance Association is responding, saying travelers need to better understand the coverage options. Essentially, read the fine print and figure out what the policy does and does not cover. If it's a flight, you might be better off just going with a fully refundable ticket option. The Better Business Bureau suggests checking with your credit card first because they typically have some type of travel coverage.
Well, we just updated our Now newsfeed. A quick look at the day's big stories. A former Nazi concentration camp guard just got kicked out of the United States. The 95-year-old man was living in New York. He lied to get into the U.S. decades ago. Now the White House deported him back to Germany. The Army is now reinstating at least 36 immigrant recruits. These men and women were serving in our military on a pathway to citizenship when they were suddenly discharged. Some given no reason, others called a security risk. An AP investigation uncovered the practice, causing backlash and lawsuits. United Airlines hopes you'll be willing to spend even more money to get the seat you really want. It's going to start charging for preferred seats. They might be closer to the front, maybe it's a window or aisle seat, but no extra legroom. Nope, nothing else that's special about it. Delta and American already are doing this. Another check of our lineup. We're talking about returnships. No, not something you do at a store. It's an internship for older professionals. Maybe something you want to consider. You're watching the Now. Searching for a new job is stressful, but guess what? You are not alone, and on average, people change their job 12 times in their career. However, experts say as you get older, it can be harder to do so. I actually spoke with a career expert to get tips on how to get back into the game.
Remember a few weeks ago we talked about the senior intern program?
Seniors in high school or college?
No. Seniors in life.
Hold on. What?
Just like Robert De Niro in the movie The Intern, getting back into the game late in life is rough. But companies are now offering returnships. Media company Mashable says returnships consist of some sort of prior education, leadership skills, and one-on-one interaction with a mentor. It's a great way to get back into the action. But before you go applying for one, if you haven't updated your resume in a while, you should start there first.
Resumes are incredibly important because they are your calling card. When you haven't met an employer yet, this is your first impression that you're making.
Monster career expert Vicky Salemi works a lot with folks in their 50s and 60s and says there are a few do's and don'ts you'll want to fix.
That's first and foremost. Typos can jump out at you, and it's a game over before it began.
And if you have over 20 years under your career belt, you can skip details from the early days.
But the further along you go in your career, the less college information you can have.
Plus, Vicky recommends keeping your resume under 2 pages. Use Times New Roman font, don't use a photo, and there's no need to put your address on your resume. Once you update your resume and start applying, remember, landing a new job or returnship doesn't happen overnight.
Keep the faith and keep searching. Do not give up. Just because one door may close doesn't mean that it's the end of your search.
If any places need more attention and resources than others when it comes to threats and violence at schools, it's these 10 states. More than half of all the threats and incidences like mass shootings that happened last school year in the U.S. happened in these parts of the country. This is coming from the Educators School Safety Network. The group suggests that one of the biggest concerns is that there are so many different school districts in these areas, and coordinating responses is really tough. Well, you could soon join a lawsuit over how Google tracks all of us on our phones. One person just sued, accusing Google of illegally tracking us even when we turn off our location history. We told you last week that Google changed the fine print on its help page to say some location data may be saved as part of our activity on other services like search and maps. Before, it used to say places you go are no longer stored. Homes are getting more and more expensive, we all know that, and the costs that come with owning a home aren't cheap. A new analysis from Zillow says homeowners can expect to spend about $9,300 a year on other costs that don't include your mortgage. Property taxes, insurance, and projects around the house can all add up to thousands of dollars. And experts say when you're shopping around for a home, don't just focus on the sticker price. Also, take a look at what you'll be spending in addition to your monthly payment.
This year may be a good one for retailers as people seem to be more confident and shopping and buying more. The Commerce Department says overall retail sales were up nearly 6.5% in July. And experts say if consumers are willing to spend in the summertime, that means it's probably going to be a good holiday spending later this year. Well, kids aren't reading for fun anymore, and you can probably guess why. The American Psychological Association says 1/3 of American teens haven't read for pleasure in the last year. It studied data from 50,000 teens. The APA found kids are busy scrolling through social and digital media, and that doesn't include ebooks. The study also found kids aren't watching as much TV and movies. Well, here at 23 ABC, we are on a mission to put more books into the hands of local children and hopefully change that statistic. 23 ABC is teaming up with the Kern Literacy Council to make it all possible through the If You Give a Child a Book campaign. For the first time, the community is also being invited to get involved. With each dollar raised, we're helping to get books into the hands of kids living in poverty right here in our city. For more information on how you can get involved, just head over to our website, turnto23.com. Well, taking a live look outside at downtown Bakersfield, the sun is setting and these temperatures just getting better with time, Allison.
It really is. Today, temperatures were down 4 degrees from what we were seeing this time yesterday across the county. It was so nice. We spent the afternoon in the upper 90s, 98 as a high for us here in Bakersfield. So that's still a few degrees above normal, but we will be getting down to that as we head into the later portion of the work week. So you've been seeing breezy conditions across the county as as well as very dry conditions. Just 10% humidity up in Lake Isabella right now, 19% for us here in Bakersfield, and you can expect these dry conditions to continue into the weekend as well. Now, temperatures are going to be hanging out in those mid-90s tomorrow, 96 as a high for us here in Bakersfield with those sunny skies across the county, and our air quality will still be in the moderate range with an AQI of 100, so exactly the same as what we were seeing today. But again, that is just 1 point away from unhealthy for sensitive groups, so make sure that you are keeping that in mind as any of the kids have play dates after school, if you are planning on hanging out in the pool. Temperatures are going to be right around 96 degrees Wednesday and Thursday, dropping down to 95, which is normal for this time of year, then bumping up a little bit for this weekend, but then dipping down as we head into next weekend. There is going to be a strong low pressure system making its way into the county Monday and Tuesday. Potentially we could be hitting the upper 80s by next Wednesday, but again, that is a week away, so we will have more details on that as we get closer, but just a perfect forecast for us this week. But now Bakersfield will be right back.
Have you heard about this today? It's the new redesigned Animal Crackers box. The owners of Barnum's Animal Crackers changed the design after getting pressured by PETA. If you're familiar with PETA, then you know they've been protesting the use of circus animals for years now. And apparently they reached out to the Mondelez, the company that owns these animal crackers. PETA wanted them to redesign the box to show that these animals were roaming free. Here are the old boxes and the new boxes side by side. As you can see, though, not a huge difference. It's really just the red bars that are gone. The red bars were supposed to look like boxcars that were taking these animals to the circus. But we decided to redesign our own box because this is really more of what we had imagined when we heard the big news today. You'd think that if the animals are roaming free, that they'd at least be pictured, in the wild or that type of setting. Pretty cool. Obviously, the internet is reacting to all of this and the new redesign with jokes about range-free animal crackers and others criticizing PETA for worrying about cartoon animals when there are real-life animals that need help. We all remember how excited we would be for story time growing up. I mean, I know I was. Now, one group is putting a unique twist on this childhood pastime with the hopes of inspiring inclusion. The Now's Kamasi Aaron shows us how.
Good morning, we've talked the whole night through.
These two don't usually perform this time of day or these kinds of dance moves. This is story time with the Salami Sisters.
Let's go, babies, says Clive. Clive slides his babies. Get ready to go down a slide, guys. This is whee, says Clive.
With full hair, makeup, and dresses, the two started reading to kids about 6 months ago at libraries.
I'm from the land of this and that.
The stories about love, compassion, and inclusion.
This isn't somewhere else, but you will fit in here.
It would have been amazing for us to have exposure and role models like this when we were younger, so we jumped at the opportunity to be a part of this program.
The program is called Drag Queen Story Hour.
So does anyone know what a drag queen is?
Jonathan Hamill brought the program to New York from San Francisco, and now it's spread across the country.
It's one of the most attended story hours of our libraries. Every time we go into a branch, the librarians are like, wow, this has exceeded the number of any other program that we've had.
As you might expect, Hamill says the kids come with questions.
What's your hair made of? Is that your real name? Did your parents give you that name?
Some more challenging than others.
Are you a boy or are you a girl? Why do you have a man's voice? Or why do you wear a dress?
But he says every answer and every story furthers their mission to instill tolerance and acceptance of everyone. It's a message parents are embracing.
I think it's really important to have diversity in kids programming, especially since a lot of drag shows aren't super kid friendly. It's like everybody accepts diversity, and I want my kid to experience it. But at the same time, I am also empowered.
A new perspective of story time.
And that's the end of Clive and his babies.
Creating new perspectives of the world beyond it. For the Now, I'm Kumasi Aaron.
And finally, in our lineup, you know those amazing before and after videos of people who had plastic surgery? Well, you can't always trust those videos. Nope, looks can actually be deceiving. We'll get into that when the Nows continues. A final check of our newsfeed. You might be hearing about this over the next couple of weeks. Prisoners across the country just started a 2-week-long strike. They won't go to work. Some won't even eat, all to draw attention to conditions at American prisons. Star Wars actress Kelly Marie Tran releasing a New York Times op-ed today about racism and online harassment. In June, she deleted her social media after getting hounded by trolls. The piece talks about growing up as a person of color in a white-dominated world. And some out-of-this-world news for you on this Tuesday. Scientists have discovered evidence of ice on the moon. So what does this mean? Well, it means the moon might be a more habitable destination than we previously thought. Moon snow cone, anyone? I'm just saying. Just about everything is right at our fingertips these days, including medical information. But researchers at Rutgers University are warning people about where they get their information from, especially if it's about plastic surgery. Researchers looked at hundreds of YouTube videos about plastic surgery. While a lot of people go there to search for answers, a lot of people behind the videos are not medical experts. The study shows that many of these videos are just marketing attempts. Many videos did not fit the criteria for giving medical advice, and many of these videos did not have a medical professional giving the advice. Experts warn that these videos are only showing biased information because they're trying to sell you something. If you decide to go online and seek advice on plastic surgery or really any type of procedure, experts say the information should include non-surgical options as well as the risks, and they should prove how they got that information. Well, we're always trying to get the best bang for our buck when we shop for makeup and personal care items, but some companies are actually using sneaky tactics to make you think you're getting more than you actually are. Tomorrow on The Now, our investigative team is looking into how they can get away with it and how you can spot the stuff.
Coming up tonight on 23 ABC News at 11, a Florida family saving a man's life. The frightening scene caught on the family's home surveillance system as they help a man wounded after being shot. Again, we're going to have that video tonight on 23 ABC News at 11. As we take a look at our temperatures once again, nice cooler temperatures considering the time of day and time of year.
I know, 94 degrees right now, really not bad. We had a high of 98 degrees today, and it looks like this trend of highs in the 90s will be continuing through the weekend and into early next week. For the rest of our week, you can expect warm temperatures, so 96 degrees as a high on Wednesday, as well as on Thursday. Friday, though, 95 degrees. So that is actually right on track with seasonal, so sunny and warm, but a light breeze, fresh air, cooler air. This is going to be so beautiful. And then actually some models looking like we could be hitting the upper 80s as early as next Wednesday. Can you believe it?
No, actually I can't. And I'm like, and the overnight lows that we've been seeing, it almost makes me feel like in the early mornings I need a jacket.
I know, it's so
crazy.
Nice. Roll the windows down.
Yeah, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you back here tonight at 11.